Good morning, all. Am I audible? Dr. Blessy and Dr. Ganji.
Yes, audible.
Good
Yes.
morning, all. So, shall we start the presentation? Dr. Ganji.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, all. Hope you all are well. So, today's presentation is on specific sports injury and their prevention in rowing. It will be presented by Dr. Ganji. So, I would request Dr. Ganji to start the presentation. And I will request all the participants to mute yourself. If they have any question, then unmute yourself.
Gopal, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. Please.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes. Good morning, all of you. My name is Ashok Chakravarti. I'm a sports physiotherapist. Today I'm going to be discussing about sports injury prevention in rowing. I'm starting my presentation. Yes, rowing is an Olympic sport since in the 1896. The sports of rowing has a rich history of competition and has been increasing greatly popular in recent decades. The first race occurs nearly 3,000 years ago in England in the Thames River. Indian rowers have been permanent fixtures in the past 6 Olympics since 2000 year of Sydney Olympics. The government of India has included rowing under the Khelo India program, which is fully supports young potential sports persons in the residential academies to excel at an international level in the chosen sport. Rowing is a sport that involves using a pedal known as an oar to propel a long boat through water at a high speed to win a race. There are two major types of rowing in water. One is sweep rowing and second one is sculling. In sweep rowing, a single oar is handled by each member of the crew. The crew size vary from 2 to 8 people. In sculling, each athlete handles two symmetrical blades and can either perform a single scull or a double scull with the two participants. In the rowing competition, further divide is categorized into the two categories. One is heavy and open weight category, and second one is lightweight category, and men and women. In men, individual not more than 72 kgs, and women's can be individual not more than 59 below 59 kgs of weight category. Olympic rowing race cover a distance of 2,000 meters. In this objective is for the boat to reach the finishing the line the quickest possible time. This requires high mental and physical strength, specifically good cardiovascular endurance. In rowing action has a four type of strokes here: main, catch phase, drive phase, and finish or release phase. And last one is the recovery phase. We are going to discussing about the catch phase. In the catch phase, the oars are placed into the water with the hips and knees fully in flexed position. At this position, at this compressed position, there is a great deal of potential energy stored in the legs, back and arms to prepare for the drive phase for the next stroke. The legs driving the body back towards the bow of the boat, the back, shoulder and arms functioning as a braced cantilever so that the force generated by the legs transfer to the oars. Next, we are going to discussing about drive phase. In the drive phase, legs fully extended position in first, followed by the back beginning to the extended and elbows flexed into the body. In this, most power is produced for the stroke. Next, we are going to discussing about the release. In the release, the elbows draw the blade through the water as the handle lightly brushes the abdomen. The blade is then feathered across the water. Then going to the recovery phase. The recovery phase begins with the movement of the hands away from the body, followed by the forward flexion at the hip and the forward movement of the spine, resulting in the movement towards the catch position again. This is continuously done by the finishing until their practice or their competition. They perform endless cycles of rowing strokes with the legs alternately extended and flexed, and therefore the arms and body movements in equivalent time. The rowing stroke requires a process of segmental coordination of the entire kinetic chain with the core being the central unit of transferring energy from the lower limbs to the over via the upper limbs. In these cases, some studies stated that to complete a rowing race, approximately 70% of the aerobic energy and 25% of anaerobic energy is required. So maximum oxygen consumption can be reached up to the 70 ml kg per minute in the elite level of rowers. Next, we are going to discussing about some common injuries in the rowing. Before we are going to discussing about the common rowing, we should know about the some rowing. So we are going to present some video here. What are the major muscles involved in rowing?
Dr. Ganji, your voice is not audible. I think there's some issue. It's breaking.
Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
It's visible. Please.
Yes.
Please continue, Dr. Ganji.
Common injuries. Slide number 12. Can start from the some common injuries. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh.
Here I'm going to discussing about some common rowing injuries. That is from hand and wrist injuries. In hand and wrist injury, mostly affected the palmar surface. That is blisters, and another one is extrasynovitis, and in rib, I mean the thoracic area mostly affected by the rib injuries. That is stress fracture and costochondritis, and knee area patellofemoral pain syndrome and iliotibial band syndrome. And in the lower back region, mostly non-specific lower back pain and spondylosis and spondylosis. These are the common injuries affected by the rowers. Mostly in the rowing injuries, is ovaries injuries is a non-traumatic injuries. So here discussing about common injury, common causes of injuries. One is overtraining, and second one is lack of recovery, and some poor stroke mechanics, and poor flexibility, and poor range of motion, muscle imbalance between the agonist and antagonist, and some poor core stability and strength, decreased hip and trunk mobility. Please next slide. Hand and wrist injuries. We are going to discussing about here the blisters. Rowers frequently suffer from the hand blisters, but fortunately these are usually easily treated by covering with the sterile dressing, and for prevention we are applying some topical powders. Extensor tenosynovitis. Extensor tenosynovitis is extremely common, characterized by the pain, swelling, and crepitus. Crepitus means a crack feeling within the wrist when we are moving to the wrist actions and we are rowing. Extensor tenosynovitis is commonly occur in early spring with the return to high intensity rowing in the relatively cold weather. Next, an extensor tenosynovitis occurs when the type of inflammation affected the tendons of the wrist and hand, which enable and control movements of the hand. It can cause pain with the rowing and other activities such as writing. Treatment involves use of the cock-up discipline when not rowing, I mean the rest position, and anti-inflammatory medication will be effectively useful, and we can give the IC also. And local cortisone steroid injection will be helpful for the pain relieving and swelling. Next, and prevention, keeping the hand and wrist as warm as possible while rowing time. Rowers should make sure that they wear long sleeved shirts and fleecy covers that enhance the hand and wrist, and wore while rowing in the cold weather. Next slide, please. Next, going to discussing about the rib injuries. Pain over the rib cage in rowers often indicated as stress fracture of the ribs. These injuries are 10% of rowing injuries total out of total body injuries, and typically occurs during intense training in the winter and early spring. In rib injuries, mostly the pain will be in the deep breathing and coughing and some movement, which are activities of the rowing. Rib stretch fracture generally occur during periods of intense training in the winter and early spring, when the rowers spend a significant amount of time on the rowing ergometer with a low stroke rate and high load per stroke. In this, we have some muscle factors also contributing here for the rowing rib fracture. The weakness leading to the loss of shock absorption, increasing the stress at a selected focal points of the rib that causes a muscle pull across the bone, exerting the considerable repetitive forces, prompting a stress fracture and the muscular imbalance between the serratus anterior and external oblique muscle. So here we are mainly focusing about the serratus anterior and external oblique muscles imbalance, focusing injuries. So muscle thought to be involved include serratus anterior, abdominals are the and scapular rotators. Next, as the abdominal contracts, the rib cage is compressed and subsequently loaded. These muscles are predominantly activated at the finishing and during the recovery phase. So the actions of the scapular protraction in the recovery phase and retractions in the end of drive phase, coupled with the contractions of the oblique muscles in recovery phase, are thought to be involved in the pathogenesis of the rib stress fracture. So when the muscle imbalance between these muscles, that should be creating some tensile forces in the particular area of the ribs, so that will be creating some rib stress fractures. Next, signs and symptoms: pain in the rib area with the persist with the activities of gradual becoming more specific, a palpable bony callus with the pointed tenderness, more severe pain find for the in the rowers, worse with the deep breathing and rolling over in the bed. Fractures are located most often in the anterior to posterior lateral aspect of the rib. Stress fractures may be secondary to coughing. Next. Next, we are going to discussing about costochondritis. Costochondritis present as a pain in the tenderness on the costochondral or costosternal joints with the joints without swelling. This type of pathology is more likely to occur in the sweep rowing due to the increased movement rotation to the catch position. In this adduction of this arm of the affected side, coupled with the rotation of the head towards the affected side, may be reproducing pain. Next, inflammation in this area is most likely to be caused by an increase in the pulling at this joint possibly from adjoining the muscle to the rib and dysfunctioning at the costotransverse joint, other the attachment of the rib. The thoracic rib cage must be examined thoroughly to ensure adequate rotation segmentally. Treatment consists of same analgesics and recurrence. Costochondritis will be usually resolved by self-rest. Next, costovertebral joint subluxation. This is less common in the rowers than rib stress fracture, but it can elicit similar symptoms acutely. Rowers as occurring during the recovery phase of the stroke. This will happen in the particular recovery phase. Rowers may catch a YR wave unexpectedly and later complain of pain at the level of the 6th and 7th ribs, describing by symptoms like those of rib stress fracture. Next, we are going to discussing about intercostal muscle strain. The overuse of stretching beyond the allowable limit of the muscle between the ribs and intercostal muscles, which will creating some strain and result in the microtrauma and corresponding inflammatory response along with the pain and affected tissue. So intercostal muscles are strained during excessive muscular activity, such as that observed in the athletes returning to heavy training after a period of rest of deconditioning. The rowers present with the pain between the ribs, which was some moment with the deep breathing or coughing and tenderness will be increased. Treatments, we are giving the non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs and myofascial release. Next, we are going to discussing about the back injuries. Low back pain is usually experienced by the rowers, particularly those who are undertaking the intensive training. Injuries to the spine account 15 to 20% of all reported injuries in the rowing, making it is the most frequently injured region. Most of the injuries on pairs of intravertebral arteries within the extension type of injuries, and another one is spondylolisthesis and spondylolisthesis. Next, mechanism of injury: hyperflexion and twisting force are exacerbated at the catch position as the lower back muscles are relatively relaxed, and then the great loads are placed on the spine as the blade drive through the water. Muscle fatigue is a erector spinae muscle might be cause of excessive lumbar flexion. There may be increasing the stress on the spinal structure. So that is the reason they are getting a back pain here. The observed risk factors including increased volume using multiple training methods, the use of the rowing ergometer for more than 30 minutes at the one time, greater height and weight, and beginning the sport prior to the age of 16 years. So who are starting the early age group, they are also doing more than 30 minutes of training in the rowing ergometer. They have a chances to get early injuries in these conditions. Next, a proposal mechanism may be the increased range of motion available at the catch phase, generating a greater amount of power throughout the drive phase. The found that experience during the drive result in a increasing intra-abdominal pressure, which may help offset the high level of shear force and compression observed in the lumbar spine during this phase. So intra-abdominal pressure may have a protective effect on the spine from the tremendous level of the shear and compression to mid-drive phase. Expectation during the drive allows the lungs and to be fulfill the catch and intra-abdominal pressure to peak. The compressed positions of the rower at the catch prevents maximal intra-abdominal pressure by inspiration as a contraction of the diaphragm and is inhibited. During times of increased respiratory demand, the central nervous system must be prioritize respiratory drive over the other postural control functioning on the respiratory muscles. Cardiovascular training may not only be important for performance but also lumbar stability and stability and injury. Core is important for the injury prevention. Next, mechanism of injury: the rowers to achieve the more anterior rotation of the pelvic at the catch position, the use of the strong hip flexor muscles, particularly the psoas muscle, and having the appropriate length in the hamstring to allow the anterior rotation of the pelvis. So this anterior pelvis posture will be help to reduce the amount of lumbar flexion and therefore the stress on the spinal structure. So this is one of the cause for the lumbar injuries. It is also crucial to find the endurance capabilities of the lumbar extensor muscles to help maintain the healthy levels of flexion. Next, if disc injury, athletes should stop rowing. They will start cross training. Well, then this will be able to tolerate it, and once they begin rowing again, they should perform a core stabilization program prior to starting their regular rowing program after injury. Stretching, particularly of the hamstring and glute muscles and core stability, so work on that areas. The importance of strengthening the deep abdominal stabilizers within the vertebra, preventing the compensatory muscles of erector spinae, hip flexors and quadratus lumbar from being overused. Work on core abdominal and back strength appears to help maintain the core posture throughout the stroke cycle, preventing injuries in the lower back. Maintenance of correct posture can be achieved through the activation of the transverse abdominis and intra-oblique abdominis with the co-contraction of the multifidus muscle. So we are need to addressing here for the core muscles and lumbar muscles. We have to do strengthening with a specific protocols like isometric training and all. We can prevent it very easily. Next, we are going to discussing about the spondylolisthesis. Spondylolisthesis is considered to be the forward displacement of the vertebra related to the anterior. The severity of the slip expressed in the degree of ranging from 25% of slip is a type 1 to a complete displacement of the vertebra is a type 4, and type 2 and above typically involve a stress or acute fracture within the vertebra. The spondylolisthesis is relatively common in the rowers. The majority of the injuries occur in the pars intra-articular. Risk of the development of spondylolisthesis increasing the sports with the lumbar hyperextension and extension of the hyperextension and extension and rotation involvement, rotation activities or movement involvement. This is mostly non-traumatic spondylolisthesis with a lesion in pain in the given individual. It's involved in sport with the repetitive spinal motion. The pars lesions likely represents a stress fracture of the bone caused by the cumulative effect of repetitive stress imposed by physical activity. Treatment mostly treated with the conservative treatment, usually successful of controlling symptoms and restoring function. Only a small percentage of patients require surgical intervention for pain or progressive spondylolisthesis. Usually, are giving the 4 to 6 weeks of a rest with adequate medications and very few of distal body exercises like isometrics of the lower body. Treatment require activity restriction, that is temporary discontinuation of the heavy aggressive sports or activity, particularly extension movement, and maybe require bracing to achieve a treatment goals. Although healing, pain relief for both may occur without or brace or application. Next, we are going to discussing about sacroiliac joint dysfunction. Sacroiliac joint dysfunction typically results in the pain over the buttock, lateral thigh, anterior pelvis, and groin. Pain is rarely referred to the below the knee. Sacroiliac joint problems have been observed and occur in the three main reasons. One is the difference in the leg length, causing the rowers push legs down unevenly. Next. Next slide, please. Second one is presence of underlying hypermobility, usually from prior trauma, and third one is the presence of constant sudden balance problem. The greatest demands of flexor on the sacroiliac joint occur in the transmission point between the catch and the drive phase, and maybe also exacerbated the relative joint laxity and muscular imbalance observed in the rowers. Next. Treatment includes manipulation to increasing the mobility of the locked or compressed sides, and in case of differing the leg length and extra insole in the shoe, the shorter the leg will help. Use of stabilizing a belt may be beneficial, although in some rowers it tends to shift and uncomfortable to use threads in the boat. Physiotherapy program including sacroiliac joint mobilization, core muscle, and general lower extremity strengthening can be very effective in the resolution of sacroiliac joint dysfunction. And self attraction also applied for the sacroiliac joint and lower back. This is very helpful for the relieving the symptoms. And next we are going to discussing about the knee injuries. One is patellofemoral pain syndrome and the tibial band friction syndrome. They are the most common injuries in the rowers. Patellofemoral pain syndrome. Patellofemoral syndrome is an unbearable umbrella term used for pain arising the patellofemoral joint itself and adjacent soft tissue. It is a chronic condition that ends to the worse with activities such as squatting, sitting, climbing the stairs, and running. And patellofemoral pain syndrome generally presents with the pain while ascending or descending stairs and a clicking sensation during rowing. The mechanism of injury, as a rowing is a non-weight bearing activity, rowers' knees typically do not sustain traumatic ligament or meniscal damage, but rowers may be instead of experience bouts of generalized patellofemoral pain, which can be developed into two ways. First, at the catch phase, the significant load is placed on the fully flexed knee, which may lead to patellofemoral complaints. And second one is over compression at the catch will further strain on the surrounding ligaments. And secondarily, at the finishing of the stroke, there is a tendency for the knee buckle slightly or pop up early phase. Next, the three muscle bellies of the quadriceps are strengthened throughout the stroke cycle, causing an imbalance and finally leading to a lateral tracking of the patella. The lateral tracking of patella, there will be some shift between the joint line. It will creating some irritation on the in between the patellar surface and the anterior surface of the tibia and femur. The iliotibial band which attaches to the patella throughout the lateral retinaculum also maybe play a large role in the patellar positioning. The added pull in the outside leg for a leg of a sweep may be exacerbate the patellar problem. In additionally, female rovers may be predisposed to the patellar tracking problem due to an anatomical consideration. And another one more is the equipment limitations such as a foot stretcher, angle or a wide foot placement may be further compound the problem. Next, signs and symptoms. So mostly anterior knee pain going to up, maybe this way increase by day. Pain when sitting with the knees flexed and pain with squatting, kneeling and returning from squat, all implications with the patellofemoral pain syndrome. Pain while walking downhill. Next, treatment and prevention. Mostly we are suggesting a non-steroid anti-inflammation drug and a stretching program for the anterior hip quadriceps and iliotibial band, and we have to give some self MFR release like foam rolling and all. We are preventing this type of things. Next, we are going to discussing about iliotibial band syndrome. It is a common injury that usually presents with the pain and tenderness and palpation of the lateral aspect of the knee, superior to the joint line and inferior to the femoral epicondyle. The IT band glides across the outside of the knee with the knee bending. Usually in the knee is full compression at the catch position coupled with the varus knee alignment maybe contribute to the lateral knee pain in the rovers. Signs and symptoms, sharp pain on the outer aspect of the knee, particularly when the heel strikes the floor, that can be radiated into the outer thigh or a calf, outer calf also. In an audible snapping sensation in the knee when knee bends due to the band flicks over the bony tubercle. Swelling on the outer side of the knee will be mostly present. Pain on the lateral aspect of knee during running and rowing. Treatment and prevention. Rest is one of the best treatment for this IT band syndrome, and icing and anti-inflammatory drugs are very useful for reducing pain and swelling, and ultrasound therapy is healing of the internal micro trauma and reducing the pain also. And then we are giving further some stretching exercises, and we are giving some self-release with the foam roller. That should be stretching and self-release with the foam roller will be giving a prevention exercise. Next. Next, we are going to discussing about shoulder impingement. Shoulder pain can be the result of many factors in the rowers, but most typically occurs through overuse, poor technique or tension in the upper body. Shoulder. Next. That mechanism of injury, forces are placed on the shoulder during the rowing stroke as the scapula retracted and the humerus is elevated to transfer the forces from the handle to the more powerful legs and back. In the rowers, the combination most often observed in anteriorly placed glenohumeral head and tight posterior shoulder capsule and tight latissimus dorsi and weak rotator cuff muscle. This is exaggerated in the outside of the shoulder of the sweep rowers mostly. We are seeing in this condition in sweep rowers. Next. Overuse problems and the stroke mechanics can also lead to a problem with within the shoulder girdle, such as the tendinitis of the rhomboides major minor groups, as well as the levator scapulae. In scully, a common mistake is to activate the upper fibers of the trapezius instead of the engaging of the mid to lower trapezius and the latissimus dorsi, causing a tightness and pain in those fibers, which often radiates into the large upper shoulder and arm area. Next, treatment and prevention. Treatment consists of ice and other pain control modalities like ultrasound therapy or shockwave therapy. Long-term care should be focused on the strengthening of imbalances and modifying technique, stabilizing the surrounding musculature and stretching in particular like pectorals and the latissimus dorsi and after their activation. Commonly, the rotator cuff and scapular forces couples are out of balance, which can be lead to impingement on the tendon of process within the shoulder girdle when placed under the stress. Next, rehabilitation should be focused on the rebuilding and balancing of these muscles to be ensure proper scapular and femoral mechanics. Tight pectoral, minor and major, and latissimus dorsi can further compound the proper mechanics of the shoulder joint. So we should focus on this flexibility. These involve specific mobilization techniques involving the stretching of the posterior capsule with inevitable tightness due to the very protracted position of the arms at the catch position. Prevention is staying healthy and trying to develop a good rowing technique, and hydration, nutrition like a balanced diet or mixed diet, sleep. Some studies suggested not only rowers, athletes should be take a night sleep minimum 8 hours, maximum in the whole day 8 to 10 hours of rest period, and warm up specific up to 20 to 30 minutes. It depends upon the level of their performance and playing capabilities. And frequent assessment by the physio and strength training. Rehabilitation should be done 3 times a week. That should be not beyond the 45 minutes. It should be very few minutes, like 20 minutes to 40 minutes in between that. Next, biomechanical evaluation and cool down. Example, static stretching and foam rolling and some self-releasing techniques they are using for the cool down phase. Next, why do we need a warm up for before the some exercise? Your body physical and psychologically, reduce the risk of these reasons we are doing warm up for. So, cool down we are doing same like warm up, but mobility activities. But cool down we have to focus on the static stretching. Hello.
Yes, Ashok.
Madam, I want to present some videos. Can I log in through my laptop and I will present some videos here?
Yes, yes, you can do it.
Wait for a few seconds. I will log in through.
Meanwhile, अगर आप लोग के पास कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप चैट बॉक्स में उसको टाइप कर सकते हैं.
Dr. Blessy.
Yes, Gopal.
Yes, there are some issue, some technical issue. So Dr. Ashok will not able to present that presentation, that video that he.
Yes.
So now we can take question from the participant if they have.
We can.
Otherwise, we can close this session. So I would request all the participants, if they have any question, they can ask, because Dr. Blessy and Dr. Ashok is here. So you will get an appropriate answer for that. If anyone has any question, वो अपने आप को unmute कर सकते हैं और question भी पूछ सकते हैं. I think no one has any question. Okay. So yeah, yes, Dr. Ashok.
Thank you, Gopal and Blessy madam. Thanks for the CMS team and thanks to give this opportunity to me for Society of India. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ashok. So now we are closing this session because I think no one has any question. Now we will meet on Monday. The session will be on specific sports injury and its prevention in cycling. It will be presented by Dr. Prahlad. So we will meet at same time. So I would request all participants to present on Monday as well. And thank you for giving your precious time for today's session. Goodbye and take care.
Thank you so much.
Okay.